They said my
This
pickup
vehicle
truck
is in
was an
clear
eyesore.
violation of Community
They said it
Guidelines,
didn't belong
Section
in their
3,
perfect
Paragraph
neighborhood.
4.
So the HOA called
I
in
have
their
told you
so-called
3 times
security team
already,
to
you
tow it
cannot
away.
park that
What they
monstrosity
didn't
here.
know was that my truck wasn't just any truck.
And this
It
is
was
the
an
truck
undercover
that you've
sheriff's
been repeatedly
SWAT
parking
vehicle,
in my designated
loaded with
spot.
surveillance gear for an active operation. By the time the day was over, the HOA president was in tears. The fake security guards were in handcuffs, and the entire HOA board was facing charges that would destroy their little empire forever. When my family first moved into Lakeside Ridge, I thought we'd found peace. A quiet home by the water, trees swaying in the breeze, birds calling at dawn. But within a week, I learned the truth. This wasn't a peaceful community. It was a kingdom run by a petty tyrant named Karen. Karen was the HOA president. She ran the board like a dictator, barking orders at neighbors, threatening fines for unsightly lawns, and even measuring grass with a ruler. The first time she noticed my black pickup parked in the driveway, her lips curled. She stormed across the street, clipboard in hand. This monstrosity lowers our property values. It looks like a construction worker's vehicle, not the image we want. With all due respect, that truck is registered, insured, and legally parked. You have no authority over it. The room erupted. Some nodded in agreement, but Karen's loyal board members glared like I had just declared war. Days later, new faces appeared in the neighborhood. Men in dark uniforms, patrolling in golf carts with flashing amber lights. They wore patches that said HOA Security Enforcement. They acted like the police, pulling over kids on bikes, demanding IDs from delivery drivers, writing fake tickets for supposed violations. One night, I caught them circling my driveway. Flashlights danced across my truck. One of them tapped the window, peering inside. They left a bright red sticker, "Final warning. Vehicle will be removed." I peeled it off, shook my head, and muttered under my breath, "They have no idea what they're messing with." The next morning, silence. I stepped outside, and my driveway was empty. My truck was gone. Karen stood nearby, smirking like a queen who had just conquered her enemy. "Told you we'd handle it. Maybe now you'll learn who runs this neighborhood." I clenched my fists, but inside I was smiling, because she had just made the biggest mistake of her life. That eyesore truck wasn't just mine. It belonged to the sheriff's department. Inside, hidden compartments carried surveillance gear for an active SWAT sting. By the time I called the sheriff's office, the reaction on the other end of the line told me everything. "Dispatcher. They... What? Stay put. We're on our way." It didn't take long. Within the hour, unmarked SUVs and cruisers filled the street. Deputies stepped out, hands on their weapons, scanning the area. The sheriff himself climbed out of a black Suburban, face red with fury. "Sheriff," to me, "where's the truck?" Me, "Towed by the HOA. They hired fake security." The sheriff spun on his heel, eyes narrowing at Karen. "Sheriff," booming, "do you idiots realize what you've done? That was an undercover SWAT vehicle. You just compromised an active operation." Karen stammered. "Karen, we didn't know." It was ugly. It broke HOA rules. The sheriff leaned close, his voice like a growl. "Sheriff, lady, you and your fake rent-a-cops are about to find out what real law enforcement looks like." The deputies stormed the tow yard. My truck sat there, doors pried open, gear scattered across the ground. The so-called security guards were caught rifling through boxes, laughing about the cool gadgets they'd found. The moment they saw the sheriff's badge, the laughter stopped. In seconds, they were face down on the asphalt, wrists in handcuffs. Charges piled up: impersonating law enforcement, illegal towing, tampering with government property, theft of federal equipment. Back at the clubhouse, the HOA board was in shock. The sheriff laid it out plain. You crossed a line. You thought you were above the law. Now you'll pay for it. Within weeks, the HOA's empire crumbled. The security company was shut down. Its owner arrested for fraud. Karen and her board faced lawsuits, fines, and criminal charges. The county declared the HOA dissolved, its power stripped away. As for me, the sheriff personally returned my truck, patted the hood, and said with a smile, "Sheriff, from now on, no one touches this vehicle, not on my watch." And just like that, the neighborhood was finally free, because they thought my truck was an eyesore. But in the end, it was the one thing that exposed their entire scam, and the only thing the HOA managed to tow was their own reputations.